Welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here. So we're embarking today on what I like to call the creator's journey. If you're a grade 9 student following the MATATAG curriculum, you know you've probably been working incredibly hard on drafting a one-act play. Now, I want you to completely scrap the idea that what comes next is just a chore. Absolutely not. This is the thrilling final push. It's where we take those kind of messy, brilliant first drafts and actually turn them into polished, stage-ready masterpieces. We're going to break down the exact steps that literally every professional writer takes to cross that finish line.
Here's our lesson plan for today's journey. We're going to move chronologically through 5 distinct stages: editing our mechanics, revising to improve the story, publishing to share our work, presenting to bring it all alive, and finally, reflecting on our growth.
All right, let's start right at the beginning with Section 1, editing, which is all about correcting those mechanics. Okay, let's dive into this. Think of your play like a car, right? Before you worry about the custom paint job, you really have to look under the hood. Editing is like fixing the engine, so the car actually runs. We're focusing strictly on the nuts and bolts here: grammar, spelling, punctuation. Let's tackle a classic grammar hurdle. We so often see writers mix up the words fewer and less. But the rule here is wonderfully simple once you see it. On the left, we have fewer. You use this for things you can physically count one by one. Like, there are fewer students in the library, or we made fewer mistakes in our script. On the right, we have less. You use this for uncountable nouns, things that are more of a bulk, amount, or a concept. For instance, we need less sugar in the recipe, or there's less noise in the classroom. It boils down to this: if you can count it, use fewer. If you can't, use less.
Now notice how one tiny little punctuation mark changes absolutely everything. Let's look at its versus its. Without the apostrophe, its shows ownership. The dog wagged its tail, or the play reached its climax. But the moment you add that apostrophe to get its, you're actually creating a contraction for it is or it has. Like, it's time to revise the script. Here's my absolute favorite quick tip for this. Anytime you write this word, just try replacing it with it is. If it is makes perfect sense in the sentence, use the apostrophe. If it doesn't, leave the apostrophe out. Simple as that.
While we're still looking under the hood, we absolutely have to talk about dialogue formatting. A script has a very specific job, right? It needs to be read by actors while they're actively moving around on a stage. Because of that, you must put character names in all caps. Every single time a new speaker starts talking, they get a brand new line. And any stage directions, like telling an actor to walk to the window or, sigh heavily, those must be enclosed in parentheses. Following these exact mechanics makes your script infinitely easier for your actors to actually read and perform.
And that brings us to Section 2, revising, where we shift gears to focus on improving the story itself.
So, we're transitioning from the micro-mechanics of fixing typos to the macro magic of actually upgrading the plot and strengthening your narrative. I really want you to internalize this core mantra. Editing asks, is it correct? While revision asks, is it effective? While editing fixes your commas and capitalization, revision, well, that's where you might completely change the ending of your play. It's where you deepen your character's emotions, add urgency to a scene, and make absolutely sure the audience actually feels something. Look, professional writers rarely publish their first draft. They revise to make the story unforgettable.
A massive part of revising is checking your coherence. Coherence is really the macro element of your story. It's the overall organization. It ensures that the events in your play happen in a sequence that actually makes sense to your audience. Ask yourself, does your play have a clear beginning, middle, climax, and ending? Does it stay focused on one main idea? If your character is suddenly on the moon in scene 2 without any explanation, well, your story lacks coherence.
On the flip side of that coin, we have cohesion. If cohesion is the big picture, cohesion is the micro-level glue holding all the tiny pieces together. It's how smoothly you connect individual sentences and ideas. You create this cohesion by using transition words. Words like although, because, therefore, and finally. Think of cohesion as the thing that guides your reader smoothly from one thought to the very next without them getting bumped around.
Before we leave this revision stage, I want to ask you this. Are your characters believable, and is your dialogue natural? Take a pause and really look at your script. Does the dialogue reveal the character's true personality? Does it actually move the plot forward, or are they just talking about the weather for no reason? Remember this. Good dialogue sounds exactly like a real conversation, just with all the boring parts edited out.
All right, let's move right along to Section 3, publishing, which is all about sharing your work.
We are now taking this chronological journey from your private notebook out into the public square. And when we publish, we really have to talk about ethical sharing and responsibility. First up is copyright. This is a legal protection given to creators that grants them the exclusive right to use and share their original works. Think of it as a protective shield around a writer's hard work. Whether you're publishing in a school magazine or online, understanding that creators own their work is just fundamental.
Now, on the flip side of that protective shield is plagiarism. Plagiarism is presenting another person's work, ideas, or dialogue as your own without proper acknowledgement. Copying a scene from a movie or downloading a story from the internet and just slapping your name on it, that is a huge mistake. Always write your own ideas. A good writer is always an honest writer.
So, you've edited, you've revised, and you're being super responsible. Here is your rapid-fire final publishing checklist. Before your script goes into a printed booklet or gets uploaded to the school website, it strictly requires a few things: a catchy title, your author's name, a complete character list with short descriptions, a clear setting description, and, of course, perfectly consistent formatting throughout.
Now for the truly exciting part, Section 4, Presenting, where we bring the story alive. As a writer, you tell the story on the page, but it's the performance, the acting, that makes the story breathe. So ask yourself, is your script ready for the stage? We're shifting your mindset entirely right now. You are no longer a writer sitting alone at a desk. You, my friend, are a performer, stepping under those bright lights.
To succeed on stage, actors need a very specific set of vital skills. First, you need clear voice projection, which means speaking loudly and clearly so the back row can hear you without actually shouting. You need natural facial expressions and meaningful body language to really communicate emotion. You need a confident stage presence. Whatever you do, don't just stare at the floor. And perhaps most importantly, responsive teamwork. Listen to your fellow actors, respond to their cues, and if a mistake happens, rely on your team to keep the play running smoothly.
And finally, we reach Section 5, Reflecting on Your Growth.
This is the final, crucial step of any creator's journey. It's where we look back at the entire, exhausting, beautiful process to recognize what we did really well and learn from the experience. Reflection isn't just a pat on the back, you guys. Reflection helps writers accept constructive feedback and set new goals. Giving and receiving honest, respectful peer feedback, that is the true secret to becoming a better communicator. It's exactly how you learn from your mistakes and figure out what you want to achieve next time. Let's do a quick recap of the entire creator's journey framework we've explored today. This step-by-step approach practically guarantees a professional, polished one-act play. Step 1. We edit to correct the mechanics. Step 2. We revise to improve the story. Step 3. We publish to responsibly share our work. Step 4. We present to perform the play. And Step 5. We reflect to grow as artists.
I want to leave you with this final thought. Think deeply about this for a second. How has writing, publishing, and presenting a one-act play helped you grow? And what skill will you improve next? The learning literally never stops, and every single draft makes you a stronger creator. Take this energy, trust in the process we've outlined today, and go tackle your next creative challenge. You've totally got this.